One. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We are here for the Bold Voices finale. So, really excited to be here to celebrate a year of interviews, networking, projects, books, programs. I mean, the list goes on with the things that we have accomplished. And so, really excited to be here today to just kind of take a trip down memory lane. We invite everybody to join us. So, there is a link that's in the post for this event. And feel free to hop on. We would love to have you come and join us on camera, share any thoughts and insights that you might have gathered from this year that we have been together. Totally an organic experience. So I am one of the hosts, Lachelle Atkins, also known as America's Supermom, mother of 15 children, and I'm a chaos crusher. I help you navigate through the chaos and overwhelm of everyday life and transform it into clarity and confidence with a smile. So I'm excited to be here today. It's kind of bittersweet, but as they say, the show goes on. There are greater things ahead. So, with that being said, I'm going to turn the mic over to you, Rochelle. How are you?
I'm good. As I was saying earlier, it's really warm here in Toronto, over 30 degrees. So I'm like sticky and sweaty, and I'm just like, in October. But all is good. So I'm very excited for this. I'm glad that we get to share our experiences, our trials and tribulations, and everything, how we've grown as people and as collaborators. So my name is Rochelle Harlington. I am the founder of Roots for Success. I'm a company where we support people in sharing their stories, understanding how their stories, they can support them by recognizing what doesn't serve them, rewriting their stories, and then realign with their abundance in their life. I also have a show called The Transformational Soul Talks, which you can find on Spotify and also the Zondra TV Network. And I see that Misty has joined us. So Misty, over to you.
I'm trying to find a better signal. I have not had a good signal. So you can see me and hear me right now?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I apologize. Misty Lee, Campground TBD. My internet is having a grand time with me today. I am an author, publisher, and I also run a foundation in memory of my son, haydensray.org. And I'm not sure what else we were going to be talking about at this point. So I'm going to turn it back to you, Lachelle. Thanks for letting me come in late. And it's good to see both your faces today.
Oh, it's so good to see you too. And, we're just taking a trip down memory lane, talking about the highlights, some things that we have grown through this year, and just whatever's on our heart. It's kind of a bittersweet point that we're at, but there's greater things ahead. And so there also is that joy and satisfaction from completing something, right? We have made it to the finish line. So I'm really excited about that. But I guess the first thing that I would want us to talk about is collaborating, because all of us, well, I knew both of you, but you guys didn't know each other. So, somewhat semi strangers in this collaboration, what advice would you give people about collaborating, especially with people that you just don't know? They're really complete strangers.
Do you mind if I go first, Rochelle?
Absolutely.
Okay, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because if I get emotional, I'm just gonna stop, and I'll let you pull in.
Okay.
I have been through a year that I never imagined. My son passed. I moved. I lost a lot. I gained a lot, and this was the one thing that we did every week that never changed. This collaboration, and through that, as I was losing friends and family, Rochelle is a friend of mine now. Like we speak vulnerably. She is my authentic person, that not a Facebook friend, not as someone acquaintance. From her, I've met so many other people. So my family has grown because of this collaboration, because I required myself to say yes to showing up here. And it would have been really easy for me to take a pass and say, hey, I can't do this anymore because I had a rough time. And I think I took maybe 1 or 2 weeks off, but this has helped me grow on every level. So the collaboration and the building that network over time, and knowing that if I have a question, one of you guys knows someone with the answer. So that has changed me on every level. And you asked me to do a questionnaire about how this has changed me, and my answer just keeps coming back to every way. Every way. It's hard for me to remember the Misty that walked into that studio that day and checked off right before I went in there. I checked off on my list, want to be on a TV show someday. And I checked it off in your lobby, and then I changed it to, now I want to be on one for my content. And you came back out and said, do you want to be on another episode? So I checked off 2. And because I said yes, this collaboration has been a great gift to me. So thank you for letting me go first. But that there's more value in it than we could ever put a dollar on.
Oh, I love that. Wow. I'm gonna have to say very similar feelings along the lines that Misty had shared, because we didn't know each other. And I had actually the year prior gone through a huge thing with my son. And so I was really nervous to get back into this again. And when I got Lachelle's email, I was like, okay, is this the universe telling me, all right, you've got an opportunity, so take this? Because I was terrified, and I thought, can I do this? Am I ready to do this? Am I emotionally ready to do this? And of course I did the show, and I was like, okay, terrified, but did it. And then got to meet, Misty, and then had these, like she said, every week we got together and had these conversations, and I started to feel more secure in coming back into this platform again on social media, coming out again with my website, because I had just shut down everything after my son got really sick. I was like, I can't go back into that field again. I don't have the inspiration. I could barely just get up and go do something physically, let alone like try and, inspire others. But this group gave me the inspiration every day. This collaboration gave me the feeling of I can do this, and it supported me like massive. And I also met through Misty more people, and like her, I got to connect with them. I met people again through Lachelle. That was amazing too. I remember at one point, I'm going to throw this in because it's funny, but at the beginning, and she knows where I'm going with this, I said, hey, you know what? I'm gonna get back on the horse and do my podcast again, because I've only got a few people. She goes, oh yeah, no problem. I'll send you a few people. This lady sent me so many people that my phone was going bing, bing. And I was like, okay, no more people, please. Because like, I'm not going to be able to interview them all. But I met so many incredible people because of that. And, we got to do incredible things together. So this has been a blessing in my life. Misty has been an incredible person. And I'm so excited that I may have a chance to meet her in person in November. So yeah, it has been wonderful. Can't say enough.
I love that. And so we started off just totally organic with this experience. We were going to have these meetings amongst ourselves, and then we go on video, and then, we're not knowing about technology, it's like, how do we post or whatever? And the discipline that we were able to create, I just think, a lot of people think I don't have time for that. So what would you say for people, they're busy managing a lot of things? I mean, Misty, you have been doing these anthologies and just pumping them out where they are best-selling Amazon bestsellers with not just the same people. You've got groups of different people in these books. And then Rochelle, you're doing your podcasting and all these other things that are going on behind the scenes. What would you say to somebody who says, I just don't know if I have the time for it? In terms of how much time do you think you really have to commit to it?
Me? You want to go?
Do you want to go, or I can go? It's up
you
to
can go first this time. Thank you.
I would say that to anybody who is listening, that and it's funny because just before we started this, I said to Lachelle that something I had been doing, and I got on and I was giving my time and energy to something, wasn't getting anything monetarily wise, But what I would say to someone who says, oh, I don't have time or this isn't worth it is, yes, it is. Because from every experience, you learn something. And for me, something I did, I learned to be a better speaker, be able to hold the room better by myself. So going back to what Lachelle said, yes, you can. Everything is a learning experience and it makes you stronger. It teaches you to step out of your comfort zone and you become a better person because of it. So if someone says they're too busy to do this, then I would say next.
Love that.
And there's, I don't know who said it originally, but they say if you don't have time to meditate or pray for half an hour every day, then you definitely need to do it for an hour. And so that's kind of how I look at this, because there have been days that I wanted to opt out, and because I thought I was going to be busy during our call. But back to what Rochelle said, but I know if you do anything for a year, you're better at it. And so every time I take off, I'm losing ground on that muscle. And and at some days I'll be like, and I don't want to have to keep doing this, but I did it long enough that now it's not a chore to lift the weight anymore. It's just a part of who we are. And I didn't even know how to use the interwebs when we started this. Rochelle, I remember the first time we talked, you said that, like, if you put a heart and send a message, I was like, what is this magic she's talking about? And now I'm telling other people how to make their reels. And I'm a Facebook content creator and I get paid by Facebook. That is what a year of showing up will do for you. So if you don't have time to better yourself, then pick a different path, because what's the point of the path if we don't have time? So it really has helped me also, like Rochelle said, step into a whole new level of expression of myself that I was not comfortable with a year ago.
I love that. And so when you're thinking about trust also, because we really have to trust ourselves and we have to trust other people to be vulnerable, to talk about the things that we don't feel comfortable with, that we just don't know very well, in order for us to grow. So what tips would you give people about, you find people that you think you might be aligned with or have common goals with, but that piece about being honest and vulnerable? What would you say?
For me, I'll go on this one, Rochelle, because my mouth is moving. Number one is exemplify vulnerability. Be authentic. If you're having a rough day, and that's what a collaboration helps with, because Rochelle and I think all three of them actually had a moment where someone else either stepped in because of technology or emotions or whatever. So having that collaboration provides a safety net so that you can trust, but you have to be willing to say, I'm going to share honestly and openly. And then you don't have to go to your core, but just exemplify that you're being real. And that by doing that with one another, I think we've also given permission to the viewers to be more authentic in so being an example with number one, and then trusting myself to do what I said. If I said I was going to show up every day or every Tuesday for a year, if I do that, whether you and I are in love or not, I said it for myself. So that's going to bring me to my final thought. The three of us are extremely different, but we have chosen to collaborate in this space. And that's why we are in love with each other, because we don't worry about, well, she has this many children, she only has this many children, so I'm not going to, no one's competing outside of anything else. We just love the human of each other, and we don't worry about all the little minor details because we're not married to each other. So we don't even have to ask the questions that could be divisive, because it doesn't matter in our little love triangle of collaboration. So that's how I think we trust, is we show others, the group, that we're going to be vulnerable and we're going to show up. And then if they don't, trust yourself to stay in alignment with yourself.
Love that. That's it.
Okay. I got into so much what she was saying, I forgot the question.
About trust and being vulnerable about things that, I don't know, you might feel uncomfortable sharing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the question is,
for somebody, what advice would you give them about being able to trust so that they can have a better collaboration?
In my opinion, I feel that with any relationship you have, there has to be a line of trust, because otherwise it's not going to be a good relationship if you don't trust one another. But like Misty said, you have to be vulnerable. And we all have had those moments for whatever reason, and know that, you know, we're coming together to support each other and really grow as a group, and not, as Lachelle has said, compete. So knowing that if you're going to step into something, get to know the person, feel comfortable with them, and then know that you can trust either that, if it's 2 or 3 or 4 or how many people it is. I think it's a huge part of collaboration, knowing that you can trust the other person, that they've got your back. It's kind of like, I would like to say, like a ride or die friend, you know, they've always got your back. So I always felt that way. No matter what happened, I always felt that I could leave messages for either of you, and you guys would always get back to me. And I would always feel good when I heard the message, because it would give me the perspective or the insight that I was looking for. So trust is massive. And again, you just have to believe and step out of that comfort zone to know that whatever's going to unfold will be amazing.
Love that. You're muted, Misty.
Kidding. Just kidding. You can't read lips. So Rochelle reminded me of something, that our collaboration has been very good at offer and ask. We have been really good at offering to each other, hey, this is what I'm into right now, and do you know anyone who does this? So that no one, I did never get there. If anyone in this group has taken, it would be me, because I don't know how to use all the social media well enough to do as much. You guys share way more than I do, and I love that, and I appreciate that. But I never felt that you guys asked anything of me ever, even though I know we have moved information back and forth. And I think that was the collaboration, because it always came with an offer and ask. And that way the trust kind of built, it kind of started to rotate in a trust circle to me. That's all.
That was a good point. That was a good point. Now, what were you most excited about? You know, like, I don't know, maybe Rochelle talked about being afraid at the beginning, but, you know, I don't know, just a funny memory or something that happened during our collaboration that really had you thinking a little differently, or just impacted you in some way.
Oh, I have to really think about that one. There were so many good moments. There were so many great moments that I can remember.
I have a really funny story if you want to think.
Yeah,
a second.
go ahead.
So this was before this show started. I don't know if Lachelle remembers, but she was supposed to call me. And so I knew I had a phone call with her, and I was very excited, because I wrote in intention I was going to be on her show. You know, I was very excited that I was getting this phone call. So I'm like, this woman is calling me, like Oprah is calling me. So I know that I'm going to have this phone call with her, but I'm coloring my hair. So I get it colored perfectly in time, and I wrap a Walmart trash bag around my head and tie it so it won't get my phone dirty, so I can have this phone call. And she video called me. And so I had to decide whether to take this important phone call and just be like, okay, or to decline. So I answered, and I was like, this is me. This is me. And she was like, no, I didn't even mean to do that. Let me call you right back. So I was like, we're going to get along just fine, because she didn't even give not another word about it. She never said another word about the trash bag. So I knew we'd be okay.
You don't even remember, really. Okay.
I will never forget.
I love that. I love that. Yeah.
I called Dr. Lauren right afterwards. I was like, I have a trash bag on my head.
Look, I thought I was right at home. Look, probably thought I was calling one of my kids. Okay. Because you never know what you're going to see on the FaceTime with them.
Oh my gosh.
I love that.
I think for me, I mean, because I'm trying to think of this. Wait, we'll hop off and I'll be like, oh, I remember the part now. But right now, nothing comes to mind other than the fact that I always laughed when we had technical issues, because it was so funny, because Lachelle would disappear, and then I would disappear, and then Misty would disappear, and then up would come me, and then she'd be messaging, I can't get back on. And so we'd be like covering, and I used to think it was hilarious. And the show just went on, but it was so funny, because I remember at one point, Lachelle froze, Misty had gone, and I was like, I'm running solo.
I remember that too. You're like, and I'm hosting now, so hello.
Right. Yeah, you never know with that technology. I think that was hilarious. I think for me, it was when the men came on, right? We had not even thought about having something for the men until February, and I was really surprised by their enthusiasm and the fact that they just kept referring other men, and it really grew into this whole other segment. So that really surprised me in that first episode, how vulnerable they were. It was just amazing just to have them share. So I think that was my biggest surprise out of all the shows that we had. But it definitely has been quite an adventure just thinking back to some of these stories. So I guess for everybody, who is thinking about expanding, because we didn't have this on our radar. We were thinking we're just going to meet weekly, support each other. And then we said, well, let's just do Q&A with us or something. And then it just expanded to what it did. So what advice would you give people about expanding and how to do that in a way that feels comfortable?
I would say don't get caught up in the biggest picture. When I talk to people about authors, I usually work with authors and they're wanting to, write a book or put out their first thing. They're trying to write their whole entire trilogy rather than just put anything on paper. So if you want to expand, know where you're headed, but do something. So, I mean, I could have waited till I had my own TV show. Instead, I chose to get as a guest on your show because that was me stepping into the role. Otherwise, I could have spent 5 more years planning the perfect entry into television. And for me, it was a beautiful way to do it because I'm a host. I mean, I'm a guest. I'm not a host. And I know that because I've been on a couple shows now. And I know that I don't want to go through all the stuff that you go through to make that happen. And so I learned that by being a guest on your show. And so I learned a lot about and I've lost train of my own thought. Taking the bite-sized pieces is where I was going. Take wherever you're headed, take a single step every day so that you're always expanding and don't get so caught up on how you're going to get to the absolute finish line before you start.
That was good.
Yeah, I'm thinking that is basically what I would say, because I think, when people want to lose weight or they want to do something, they want to do everything at once. They want to go on the diet, go to the gym and restrict everything. And then a week later, they crash because it's just too much and they get overwhelmed. So I think what Misty says is taking the small steps, those bite size, because those little steps lead you to bigger steps, but it's taking it one step at a time and knowing and seeing everything that shows up is teaching you something, even though you may not think, oh, well, this is nothing. It's just something small, but it's teaching you something. It's showing you something. And as you grow as a person, the steps will get bigger and you'll start to hit bigger steps. But like she said, it's not trying to do everything at once. Like, could you imagine, just trying to like expand, do all the stuff in my life, the podcast, the TV show and the book, and I'd be losing my mind. I mean, no, one step at a time. And as I've gone that way, new things have come in and kind of like sort of given that little bit of I would like to say, like sparkle to it. They're like, okay, look at this, look how that, and then it's kind of gone off on a little journey that way and given me some insight. So embrace each step because there's an important lesson in each step. And there's a reason why it doesn't all come rushing at you at once. It's because you would be overwhelmed and you would crash. Just like I said at the beginning, it's like people who want to lose weight and they try to do everything all at once. And then after a week and a half, they go, yeah, forget this. I'm just going to go buy McDonald's and sit on the couch and watch soap operas or something, So that is my 2 cents. No
Love
pun intended.
I love that. Now, so let's get to book writing and everything and collaboration, because each of us has collaborated on each of you guys' projects as well. So the book, Now What, that we did together, how did you even visualize that? Misty, with us coming together, and you doing what you're doing with us in this collaboration to really kind of navigate, the time invested. And because I really feel like, I mean, that was the best collaboration that I have ever done. Seriously. I feel
Tell
like,
everyone.
what?
Tell everyone.
You know, I was like, what? It's done? We international bestsellers. What? I just felt like it was a total breeze.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Well, I had put together a couple of anthologies and they did very well. And I became the poster child of you're not working when you're doing what you love. So it's like, to me, I get to go and just have the greatest parties. And there's a book that we get to have at the end and people buy them. And it's like this great celebration. And so I kind of became the accidental publisher. And I had done a couple of those and I just kept writing. Now what? Now what? Now what? Like, because I was in insurance and then I published a couple books. So now what? And then I wanted to find other people who were in that stage. And I wrote that one. And then I started thinking about my 2 cents, which was a story about my son and how I raised money, just asking everyone in the city to donate 2 pennies. And we put that one together. And that one also, #1 international bestseller. And then I did, and from that book is where I met a lot of the family from the group in here. And I appreciate you saying that, Lachelle, because sometimes I wonder how well I'm juggling the 40. There's usually about 40 authors in there. As much as I'm having a grand time, I like the feedback that you also felt that it went very smoothly. And so now that's what I'm also doing as a fundraiser. I don't know if this is the right time to talk about it, but I am putting together an anthology right now called Addicted to Bliss, because I've been addicted to a lot of things in my life that weren't beneficial to my future. And after my son passed on, I decided that if I was going to pick up any addictions, bliss and joy are the only 2 I can really tolerate. Getting so, like that's the only place I can handle sobriety is if I'm addicted to bliss. And so that's the one that we're putting together right now. And it's a fundraiser to provide spaces on the campground that I live on. And it'll be 40 authors coming together, just talking about how addiction has affected them and how ideally finding their happy has affected them. And I meet really incredible people in each of those projects. It's a very divine how exactly the right people are brought into those projects. We had an author, Nicole. She saw us on our Valentine's show, and she stayed afterward, and she ended up writing with us at Campground TBD. So it's really beautiful how many people have written with me actually that I've met through the comment section. That reached out to me after your show. So that's a beautiful testament that I could have mentioned on instead of laughing about the trash bag on my head. That was really powerful. And I'll tell you, it made me feel, obviously I'm not huge on what my look is. I'm not a fashionista, but I do want to make sure that I'm serving. And so it made me realize that what we're talking about on Tuesdays at our casual calls are affecting people outside that felt the need to reach out to me and then publish their story to help other people. Yeah. So that gave me a huge wow, all I was doing was talking with my friends. Right. But we have wisdom. So what we're saying has helped other people. And then through them, they helped me. So I've loved the anthology project, and I'm gonna do this one. And I said I wasn't going to do any more, but sometimes I say that and my mouth goes, that's not true. So for sure I'm doing Addicted to Bliss.
Well, I think it's amazing because, you have done, I don't know how many books during this collaboration. It's about 6 or something.
I think 6 and some journals, something like that.
Okay. So how do you, because it's not all the same people.
No.
Okay. So what process do you have? Because we're talking like in a year with multiple authors, anthologies, with everything that you've had going on. And for me, like I said, it just ran smoothly. So, and it has to run smoothly for you to have that many done in a year. So what is your process? I mean, do you
I,
have like an
I
interview process with
I
people?
can tell you the whole secret, and it's so crazy. I saw it on a YouTube video. If you do anything for 18 minutes a day for a year or something like that, then you will be better than 95% of the population that do it. So
Mhm.
I knew I was going to be caring for my son, and we were stuck on a mountain. And I became obsessed with learning that how to put those pieces together. So the
Mhm.
first one was not as
Mhm.
smooth at all. And then I just tore apart the details, and I became a master at what I did because I dedicated 1 year to it. And as it turned out, about a year later is when it the referrals were coming in, or someone was calling me saying, I have a friend who wants to write about addiction. I know this is something you talk about. Or, because now I've done it consistently every day for a year. I do a live every single day. I mean, I live the life that I'm talking about, and I've done it for a year. And just like the video said, if you do it every day for a year, you will see the results. So if everyone out there started right this minute and said, in 1 year, I'm going to run this far, weigh this much, be in love, whatever it is, and you dedicate it every single day, you will get there, because that's how it works. We ask, he provides. That's how it works. So
I love that, because to tell you the truth, you do have to put it in your daily routine. See, I think this is where a lot of people say, oh, you know what, I'm going to do that. I think, some things, if it's going to be a daily thing, a weekly thing, like I looked at our collaboration and, we just set out, it's going to be a week for an hour. And it's just like a non negotiable. Does this time work for everybody? So, I mean, based on what we were doing, and we talk and have messages behind the scenes, but for the most part, a week was all it took for us to continue to do the things that we did. But I think, we had work that was going on behind the scenes with it. It was all kind of integrated. But I love what you say about doing it every day, because those are the things that stick. If you're doing it once a week, you miss a week, then it turns into 2 weeks and 3 weeks. You look up and you don't even know what you were doing 2 months ago. So I love that. So Rochelle, same thing. You had your podcast and other things going on. So how did you know how to navigate through that with this collaboration?
Well, as I said at the very beginning, you sent me a lot of people, so that took me a little while to sift through it. But it was, I stopped taking people because I was like, okay, this is too much, and I'm never going to get them out in time, and because I only come out twice a month. But I met so many incredible people that within, I would say, probably within less than 3 weeks from interviewing everybody, because it was like consistent in order to get all the people in, it kind of got me back up on the horse again, and I started to feel comfortable again, getting back in and interviewing and talking and feeling inspirational and tweaking and twisting it. Because what I also noticed was that I had some very different people, and then before it was more along the spirituality, and now I was bringing all different kinds of people from different areas and genres, and it was interesting because they all had something beautiful to share in their stories of transformation. And from that, I also was connected with a wonderful lady, Jana Short, and got to write for her magazine because I shared her story. She came on, and I went on her podcast. So there were lots of little collaborations as well, connected as with the beautiful Dina, who we're doing a book alongside with Misty and Lily, and so tons of little mini collaborations along the way. And it was just suddenly this whole family, like Misty said, grew exponentially from this collaboration and from the podcast. And I started interviewing men, which I was a little fearful of, right? Because I was like, oh, I don't know, what could I say? But you know what? Dallin was my first guy who came on. We had the most incredible conversation. And then after that, another gentleman by the name of Tyler came on, rest his soul. Unfortunately, he passed shortly after, but beautiful story. And then I started having more and more men on. So I grew. So not only did I step back and get in the saddle and start to podcast, I then started to bring different people in and tweaked the stories a little bit so that, it was not the same line of questioning that I had started. I was really understanding their stories. And a lot more and getting into what they were doing and how it was affecting the world. And yeah, I think it was massive for me. It was growth for myself on doing that podcast. And as you both know, I then ended up going with Zondra TV Network and then streaming, of course, which was amazing, and sharing more messages with more people out there. So overall, it was a beautiful experience, and it made me step out of my comfort zone and become a better human being all the way around.
That's so sweet. Love that. All right. So now we're switching gears about, what is on the horizon, the now what situation, that's the title of our book. Now what collaboration, what's next for us. So I guess we'll start with you, Misty. What's now what? What's your now what moment?
So right now, my entire focus is on raising the funds to build out additional spaces here on the property that I live on for temporary housing for people who might be going through a life event and they don't necessarily want to plan a trip. They can come here and I provide them safe space and nourishment, things like that. I planned this when my son was born in '95 so that when people had children that had special needs, they would have a safe place to get away. And it's just been something I've been building toward. And then when he passed, it gave me actually the freedom to bring that to fruition. So haydensray.org is his nonprofit. And currently I can sleep about 20 people here, but I would like to have a couple of private cabins for people who are going through more intense, need more privacy so that we can emote fully and freely. I have a big giant building in the back that you can scream and punch. I have mattresses leaned up against the wall that you can punch into, or you can dance or kayak. So my entire focus is fundraising and getting the word out of the spaces that are available. Because I get a message routinely, do I have a bed available? And I've been able to say yes every time so far, but I want to always be able to say yes. When someone like you, if Lachelle, if you just were stranded in Little Rock Airport for 3 days, okay, come here. Like sometimes it's just a matter of that. Sometimes maybe someone is trying to decide a marital issue and they need to just get away from the noise of society. Okay, come here. But that may not be sitting in a Holiday Inn just staring at a wall. You may need to be able to have this freedom to move around. So that's my entire mission. So if you wanted to support us, you can go to that website. Of course, we have a lot of journals. One of them was done by Dina Fortune, who we mentioned earlier, who I met through this show, and she has published with us. And she donated a piece of art that we put on a blank notebook to raise money for my son's nonprofit. And then Addicted to Bliss, like I said, the book I'm doing right now, the anthology. If anybody wanted to write with me about addiction, that is a donation-based chapter, and all of those funds are going straight to, and it's tax deductible to the person who pays into it. So that's my entire focus. And I'll be doing some light, word work on the side just because I love to read. But right now, my main focus in life is getting the campground fully built out. And I actually, right before this call, I was on another call with a guy who may come out and help me finish building some tree houses. So I'm excited about that.
That is awesome.
You don't have to grieve in an ugly hotel room. You can grieve in a beautiful natural space with sunrise and sunset. It's amazing how much better you feel looking at a beautiful, just this divine sunrise coming up. That really is good for my spirit. So I want other people to be able to experience that. That's what I've got.
That's beautiful. So, and they can just get on that website if they want to donate any other things as well.
Yeah, we have merchandise on anything they want to buy. People have donated different artworks, and an author and artist named Natalie Villeneuve, she donated one. Just there's really cool little things on there that you can buy, and that money goes to him, or you can make a straight donation, or you can write with us.
Okay, awesome. And I love the title because we could be addicted to being a bully to ourselves with negative thinking. It could be anything. So I love that. All right. So Rochelle, over to you. What's your now what?
My now what? Lots of different things. Well, as I'd already sort of alluded to earlier, there is a book that we've several of us are working on, and it's called The Journey of Transformation Through the Art of Words and Codes. There's a lot of Dina's artwork in there. There's beautiful channel messages and other codes. And we are dedicating the book to Hayden's raid. Gotta make sure I said yes. We still haven't figured all the logistics of how everything's going. But that is what our meeting is for, that we're slowly trying to put together pieces. So this is how synchronistic the world is. And do you mind if I share this, Misty? I can't read lips. I think that's
You're muted.
Don't say the dates.
Okay. So I won't say the dates. So I got a call from a Dr. Nupi, and she said she was coming to New York, and she's come on my show, and I'm going to go on her show. And so I said, oh my God, that's great. I will see if I can come. So I called Dina and said, hey, I think I'm going to come to New York City, Manhattan. Do you want to come with me? And then I was like, we should ask Lily. And Lily said, yeah, absolutely. So, and then I happened to out of the blue, have a conversation with Misty about something completely different. And I said, yeah, I'm going to New York. And she's like, really, when? And I gave her the dates, and she went, I'm going to be in New York that same day. And I was like, are you kidding me? So I said, okay, there's a reason why the 3 or 4 of us are supposed to meet on top of Dr. Nupi. So I said, this is incredible that all of us are going to meet in New York City around the book and just everything that is, supporting humanity and helping the world be a much nicer place and uplifting so many people. So I thought that was incredible. So that's kind of in the works. So we've got the book, and then potentially meeting everybody. And then, of course, I am, as I was speaking to Lachelle a little earlier, I am starting to sort of add a little bit more to my Discover Your Blueprint. And I would like to eventually, down the line, be able to do it, which I talked about back in 2018, was do a retreat where you meet up in like Guatemala or Costa Rica and do something there, right? But I don't know. I'm still like back and forth. She's laughing at me. Why are you laughing at me?
She's saying you could do it there.
I'm over here going, I got a place. I have a whole place here. Whole entire place.
Yeah. I was like, where? So there is that, because sometimes people get too caught up in their world when they're trying to do it. Would be a shorter version of it because it's supposed to be a month long, but it would give them time to go through all the process. And when you are more aware and you recognize and you're able to realign, you have a much quicker you get to the answer quicker, because you haven't got life coming at you at the same time, right? So, Misty, I'm sure we'll talk when we're in New York about it.
I love that. That is awesome. I mean, I think those retreats are some great things that you can do to really catapult your growth, in real time, because you're able to focus and just make that decision, cut off everything else, and just really dive into personal development. So I love that. I think that's awesome. So this just is wonderful. I'm looking forward to all the things that you guys are doing. And for me, it seems like I'm going to be more engaged in the media side of things, because I just have now been asked to do a micro network. So I have a channel that has up to 12 shows that I could have with 24 episodes for each show. So I'm excited about getting some show hosts together and people putting their content. So if anybody has Facebook Live content, summits, podcasts, they can put their content on Zondra TV Network, and then their audio is stripped and put on the Zondra TV podcast. So just a great opportunity to get the message out more so with the tools and strategies for people to combat this overwhelm, a lot of these negative limiting beliefs that we have, and just really exposing them to some great insights to help them to change their perspective and just grow in their daily routine. So I'm excited about that. And I have a daughter who's graduating from college in December. So that's one more that is going to be done with school. Still got 10 living under one roof, so we don't know about that, But I do have a new grandbaby that is going to be born in January. So my son and his wife are expecting their second child. So we're excited about that. And, just so many things. I have a mastermind, just a lot of collaborations. And I think one of the things, though, is understanding that when you collaborate, you don't have to do everything. I think a lot of people get caught up in thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know if I could take on another project. But if you're able to do the thing that you love, then there's no limit to the things that you could do because you know how to measure what you can invest in it so that you still can show up for you and do all the other things. And so I really that just came to me because I was thinking about all these anthologies that you have done, Misty, but it's that whole thing of knowing where you are in the puzzle and being able to work through that and be the full version of who you are without trying to do everybody else's role. So
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Well, and congratulations.
Thank
That
you.
is, she's so casual. That is huge, huge, huge. So congratulations. I mean, this was a year ago. Like this wasn't the thing. So congratulations on that. So just make sure you consumed what she just said. And again, what we talked about earlier, because there's always an offer and an ask. We're bringing something to the collaboration. So actually we're dispersing the amount. Like I have way less work on my table. Even the cost of publishing has come down 90% because I now can collaborate with people who know Canva, who know format. I don't have to do all of it, and I don't have to hire a whole company. I can exchange. And so the collaboration space has really been so it's moved me up the technological ladder, like we talked about, because I would have had to, if I had to figure all this out on my own, I would have opted out a long time ago. So ask and offer.
Yeah, I love that because you just get to the point where it's very organic. Things start happening. You really don't have time to really kind of micromanage everything. That's how I used to be for years. And that's why I didn't get very far because I was trying to micromanage everything. I would be up all night trying to read and study and then too exhausted to do any work, right? Because I was too busy trying to learn something instead of asking somebody. So yeah, I totally get that.
When I ask someone to send me a rough draft and I'll call them and say, I haven't got your rough draft. Well, I'm going to edit it a couple more times and have one of my friends read it. I'm like, whoa. Well, what is my job then? Like what? Like,
exactly.
I'm here for all of those things. Let's send me the rough draft. You don't have to know because they don't know how to edit. So they're having someone else, or they don't know how to format. So they're going and waiting for someone else. I'm like, you don't need to even know that yet unless you want to. So you're right. Just ask around, work with everyone.
Yeah. So I guess, in these final moments, what are you guys' final thoughts, last words that you want to share with everybody? Where can they follow you? Anything else that you want to say? We'll start with you, Rochelle.
I would have to say collaborate. that is the word of the day because it's so much better. And as Lashella said, over competition, you collaborate with someone, you grow as a person, you learn something, they connect you to someone else. And I mean, it's funny, and I'll just share this real quick. I've been looking for a VA again. And Lashelle introduced me to this wonderful lady, Tiffany, who had this incredible story of climbing Mount Kilimanjaro and everything she went through. And she, in the story, she tells me that she used to support VAs and help. And at the end, I was like, so could I get you to connect me with some VAs? Because I'm looking, you want to be referred. I don't want to just not know what they're like. So she connects me. So my whole thing is now she's coming on my show. It's a collaboration, and we're helping each other and supporting. I'm helping her by hiring one of her VAs. So it's a win-win for everybody. And I think that is really where society needs to understand where they need to go. Humanity in general is when you support another human being with something that they need, then it ends up supporting you in the long run. And it is a win-win for both people, because you learn something, they learn something, and you both get what you need. And I think that's the best, because there's too much in the past of competition and trying to do this, or I can do that better. No, just come together and support each other and help each other. And then you grow even more, because remember we were talking about this, Lachelle, the other night, is you are in service to others, and having that community around you and supporting people who may just want to buy, 10 pounds of yarn from you, but they love your business, right? Because you make them part of your community. You make them part of your bigger family. And I think that's the biggest lesson, is really understanding that other people are important, and coming together and supporting each other. So if anybody wants to share their story, come on my podcast. You can definitely connect with me on Facebook, on LinkedIn, Rochelle Harlington, or you can go to my website, which is rochelleharlington.ca. There's a Let's Talk button there if you want to connect with me. You can find me. I'm very good at responding, and I'll do a virtual coffee with anybody, because I'm always open to hearing your story and what you've got to share. So that is my 2 cents.
I love it. Those plugs just keep on coming. That's good. All right, Misty, over to you.
Rochelle, I'm going to give you props for 2 things that you've mentioned, that you were expanding and things got uncomfortable and you pushed through, and things got uncomfortable and you pushed through, and how the collaboration helped you but you did push through. You didn't just give up. So when people are ready to expand, you can either, and Lachelle uses this alibi, you can either have the alibi that I'm not ready to expand yet, or you can just push through in a comfortable space where I can call either one of these women and say, I'm about to have a nervous breakdown, and they'll just walk me through it. It's fine, because we're all real. So we are willing to expand. So I want to give you props for that. And then I want to say, when I collaborate now, I have to hold myself to a standard of lifting my chin up and collaborating with these people, because in the past I've collaborated with these people, and you know what they did. Like, this is a different conversation. So I have to collaborate with my chin up, because I see a different crowd of people here, and you guys hold me to a chin up standard. And so I appreciate that type of collaboration. And that's kind of how I know if I can collaborate people in the future. Are they holding me to a chin up standard, or are they wanting me to engage in some negative, whatever? And I don't mean venting. Everybody's allowed to vent with me, but different energy. So I really love that. And I want to challenge people. We all spend quite a lot of time focused on what's happening right in front of us, like kind of that thing that's bothering us a little bit. Maybe it's financial, or time, or children, or husbands, or whatever. But the challenge I would like to leave everyone with is to spend at least a few minutes a day past all that. I love to encourage you to write about that, if at all possible. It is a creativity exercise that 95% of people will not even do. So if you can challenge yourself, and with discipline or with consistency, as you prefer, just a few minutes every single day, but every single day, as if you brush your teeth we don't do anything that's lifelong requires a daily discipline or a daily we don't brush our teeth once every Saturday, I hope. We don't eat once every Saturday generally. We don't sleep once every Saturday. So we need to be doing something for that improvement every day. And this is the easiest way to build a trust exercise with yourself, to write a place of, there's nothing wrong in my world. And just write something beautiful about your life. Even if it's not the current life, even if it's the fairy tale life, if it's beautiful to your spirit, write about it, be grateful for it, and just challenge your mind to play there. It's a make-believe game. So that changes people's everything about them, from the science to the religion to the woo-woo. It changes your energy field. It changes your spiritual. It changes your connection to God, to source, to yourself. So if you will challenge yourself every day to just spend 5 minutes in gratitude about a life you do want, and also the muscle is to leave out everything you don't. So I'll leave you with this. For example, if you really want to date someone who's a non-smoker, you don't say, I will never date a smoker again. You can write the fairy tale that the first time he kissed me, his mouth was so fresh, or whatever, it tasted like a cherry that he just ate or something. Just write in the beautiful story of the thing you want instead of saying, I don't want this, and challenge your brain to think that way. 5 minutes a day for 30 days, and it will change your life. I'm living proof. If you want to find me, I'm definitely on Facebook. Every single morning, I do a live on a group called Quantum Writing the Hayden's Way. It's an always free Facebook page, and I do that every morning. If you'd like to write with me, you can reach me here. You can reach me on LinkedIn. You just give me some time, because not always the best on that one. But Facebook, I'm always on there. You can reach me there. Or my email is campgroundtbd@gmail.com, and that's like campground to be determined, TBD. But you can reach me anywhere. I'd love for you to write with us in Addicted to Bliss, or of course you can go to haydensray.org, and that's like Hayden's Ray of Sunshine. So haydensray.org, and you can get a lot of information about me there. What about you?
Well, I just first want to say thank you, ladies, both for your time, for your resources, for your energy, for your intuition, innovation, creativity. The list goes on and on. I mean, it just really has been such a blessing in my life. And I wouldn't even think that I could accomplish all the things that I have accomplished in a year's time. So, and a lot of that I attribute to you guys. I think my challenge for everybody is, stop coming up with excuses, just get started. And, we just dedicated an hour a week to this collaboration. And I mean, there is just no price tag to all the different growth that we've experienced, the people that we've met, the projects that we completed. All these things are the result of that discipline. And I love what you said about a discipline. If you're doing it every day, it's a lifelong discipline. And so if you're thinking about your business, or you're just getting started with collaborations, do something every day, just a little bit, because it will definitely pay you way more than what you think you could even imagine, because there's so many things that you're learning about communication, about, sharing, about vulnerability, about transparency, about, honesty, right? Forgiveness, whatever. All these things you're learning when you are intentional with that time. And so I just say, get out of your head about the big things that you think you have to do. Just start small enough with something that you can continue to do every day, and you will be amazed at the outcome over time. I just look at this season, we're having one season with a TV series, and now, I have a channel, right? And it's like I'm over here doing this and not even really thinking about it, but it's just, you just never know who's watching, So those moments of time, just imagine if the right person is watching you for that 15 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever that you're doing all the time. That's all you need in order for you to level up to the next step. So that would be my words of wisdom. You can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook. I'm pretty much everywhere. And I'm very active in the messages in these places. So if it's Facebook Messenger, LinkedIn DM, Instagram DM, because I'm always excited about meeting great people. And just like Rochelle said about Tiffany, she actually is connected on Clubhouse. And so I got this new house from the old connections because they did an update on Clubhouse. And so I just am going through this house. Every week I go and reach out to the people to see if they're active. I send them a message on Instagram. And so I just happened to send her this message. And so she responded back. And that's how I got connected. So I immediately introduced her to people because she told me she wanted to do podcasts. And that's just how that happened. So I'd say continue to reach out to the people that are connected to you, because you never know. Life gets busy. They may say, oh, I want to give them a message, and they forget. So if you take the first step, you never know where that could lead you. So, but this has been a wonderful collaboration, and so glad that all of you guys have been with us on this journey. Please reach out to everybody, connect with us, because, you know, we still are passionate about making an imprint in this world and doing the things that we do. So we would love to connect with you. So any other words from you guys before we go?
I'm just so grateful that this opportunity happened. Exactly. And I would say, whatever it is, start small. If you want to hold a retreat, have a dinner. If you want, whatever it is, do something toward the thing. If you want to write a book, write a chapter. If you want to have a podcast, do a live Facebook. Whatever it is, just do something to take that baby step. And I've loved this. I've loved this. This took me through all my baby steps. So thank you. Thank you.
Oh.
I think that's amazing. And just to kind of layer that on top of what Misty said, and I spoke about this a couple of weeks ago, is always be in a place of a little bit of fear, knowing that you can do something and it may be scary and it may be terrifying to you, but it'll really expand your comfort zone. And then the things that you want in your life will start to show up because you're expanding that comfort zone. So every day, make a genuine effort to do something that scares the shit out of you.
That's great advice, because otherwise you'll never get started.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. And we'll be around on LinkedIn and Facebook. So follow, connect, and we'll see you guys later.
Bye-bye.
Yes.